Okay, moving on to evaluation. Now this is very important because this is a very heavy question. It's 7 marks, right? If you do it wrongly, most likely you will not do well for the whole paper. So it's very crucial that you know what you're doing for the last question. All right, so which is the question D, the question D in your source base. So it's an evaluation using all sources. They will ask you to use all sources. But even though they ask you to use all sources, please only give me one source per paragraph, right? One source per paragraph. That's it. Don't mix two sources together in one paragraph. And after you've written one source per paragraph, do a full inference of that source in relation to the question. Okay, next give a balanced answer. Minimum one yes and one no. One agree, one disagree. Alright. Maximum two agree, two disagree to get the highest marks. Two agree, two disagree. Okay, for each agree or disagree, make sure you have a clear reason why. Why do you agree? Why does the source agree? And this is an inference, it should be in your own words. Why it agrees or why it disagrees with the question. Okay, now sample question. British administration failed because of the lack of understanding between the locals. Now, the key thing here is they are saying that the main character, the British administration, they failed, and this is the reason, right? This is a lack of understanding. Do the sources agree or disagree with this? Now, to help you in your explanation, you can first brainstorm what are the kind of things that you will see, right? What are the kind of things that you can explain for lack of understanding? Well, you can see things like arrests, people going against the British, riots from the locals, right? Some laws that don't show concern for the local religious and racial practices. And what is this? Where do you see this? Right, you see this in the Murray Hertog case, right? For religion, you see this in the Murray Hertog case. For racial, you see this in the anti-NS riots, right? All right. So these are the sort of things, right? Racial insensitivity. You will see British making use of the locals. You will see unfairness of the policies that only favor the British, right? Favoring the British. So these are the things you will see. If your policies only favor the British and don't care and don't show any concern for the locals, then you can say that the British in effect have failed the people, right? Because they don't understand the people. So other reasons why the British could have failed, right? Things like lacking of provision of basic needs. When I talk about basic needs, I'm talking about food, all right? Basic needs, I'm talking about poverty, starvation, about housing, about food, right? Not so much about job. Okay, take out the job. Maybe you can take out the job. Okay, harsh conditions. So all these things are basic needs. Food and shelter, right? Basically all comes under this. Food and shelter, basic needs. Okay, so how will you see this, right? You see rundown houses, you see poverty, right? You see poverty, you see rundown houses, right? Rundown houses, malnourished people. So these are things that indicate that they failed due to the lack of provision of basic needs and not because of lack of understanding. And lastly, you also have they could have failed because they failed to provide efficient security, right? So why will you see this when you see riots spreading, when you see that the police force cannot do anything about the riots, when you see the British have a weak police force, means they are not doing enough, right? Means they are not doing enough to safeguard the peace. Right, so this is your explanation, right? So the question again, I repeat again, the question asking you, is it they failed because of lack of understanding? You can say yes, because some of the sources tell me all these things, but I can also say no, because some of the sources tell me other reasons why they failed, and therefore it's not necessarily because of lack of understanding, right? It could also be because of lack of provision to provide basic needs or lack of security, right? Lack of provision of security. example. So this is how you do it. So one example here for an agree source, right? A agrees with the statement. So if you find that yes, it is lack of understanding, then you say yes agrees with the statement that failed due to lack of understanding. So repeat the question again, follow the phrasing exactly. Yes, they failed because of lack of understanding towards the locals, right? How do you know that they didn't understand the locals? Because in this source, it shows that they didn't show any concern, right? Because they forced them to go to NS, so they didn't show any concern for the rights, right? Okay, add enough for the rights, right? So where is the evidence that show this? Where is the clear evidence that shows this, right? It says that NS, they make them go for NS, and NS is just ammunition for the British when they end up killing each other in national service. Okay, so this means they don't care, right? By making you kill your own brothers, it just simply means that you don't care. They don't care about the welfare of the people, right? By using them as ammunition, ammunition means as weapons, right? As weapons for the British. So as such, you see that you're only using them for your own gain, right? For your own gain. So that's the meaning of this. So then you conclude by re-answering the question again. Does source A agrees with the statement? Does source A agrees with the statement? Okay, moving on, example number 2, you will see something like this. And let's say you see something like this, right? Does it agree with the statement that is because of lack of understanding, right? Or is it because of the other two better options, right? For me, I would think that this falls more into the other better option, which is which can be sorry, which can be lack of basic needs, right? Lack of basic needs, right? Because here I clearly see that they are in poverty, they have poor housing, and they are all, it's quite messy everywhere, right? So you say source B disagrees with the statement. Yes, disagrees with the statement that they failed due to lack of understanding. Then you give me the alternative in your next line. So what is the alternative? They failed to provide basic needs of locals. That is your alternative, right? Because you disagree, you must tell me a clear alternative that is a contrast from what the main question is asking. So then you give me the evidence. The source shows a household living in harsh conditions, blah 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 blah. And what does this mean? The fact that they're living here, right? Go back to the main character again, which is the British. So the fact that they're living in harsh conditions with clothes hanging all over the place and crammed together, how does this link to how the British failed? How does this link to how the British actually failed? So what did they not do, right? So the British did not provide adequate and proper housing for people to give them a comfortable life. The fact that you see all these things means the British did not do enough, did not give them proper housing for a comfortable life, and hence they failed due to the provision of basic needs. So hence it disagrees, right? Hence, it disagrees. It disagrees that they failed because of lack of understanding. Because here it's clearly not about the lack of understanding of the rights of the people, but it's more towards the lack of provision for the people in terms of their basic needs. Okay. So another example here, right? Agree. This one says agree that they failed because lack of understanding, because they were insensitive to the rights of the locals, right? This is the reason. My reason for lack of understanding is that they were insensitive. Okay, because here you see a picture of people rioting around from the trade union working committee. It says arise, they have been enslaved. What is the meaning of enslaved? It means they've been made use of, right? So this means that the British had policy restricted the locals, made use of them, right? That's why it called slaves, right? Make use of them and disrupted their way of life, right? And all these things help me to explain why there's a lack of understanding. So take note when you explain, give me at least 2 to 3 lines of explanation, right? How your evidence actually links to the way you answer the question and the reason for your agreement or disagreement with the statement. So I cannot emphasize enough. You must answer the question first, right? And then if you agree, tell me the reason, a short and sweet reason, evidence, explanation, and finally you link it back and say, does it agrees or disagrees? If it disagrees, right, in the next case, right, you will see source C disagrees, that they lost support due to lack of understanding. Then in the next line, immediately tell me what is the alternative on why they lost support, right? Same topic, different alternative. Here tells me they lost support because they didn't provide for safety and security of the locals, right? How do you know this? Because the source shows blah blah blah, Hockley bus riot, they failed to control the situation. There are injured people here, right? Meaning that what does this mean? Meaning that probably their police force is inefficient, right? Leading to chaos in the streets. So hence they lost support because of their inability to provide security for the people in Singapore. So this is the third example. Okay, so just to recap, very important, right? Very important. Step one in your evaluation: one source, one paragraph only. Only one source, one paragraph only. Number two, start with the ATQ. Start with answering the question: agree or disagree. Okay, and then number three, please, after you agree or disagree, tell me the reason, or if you disagree, tell me the alternative to the statement, right? And the thing about this chapter, this part, is whether it is needs, basic needs like food, shelter, whether it is basic needs, food and shelter, or is it talking about insensitivity, right? Especially to the rights, right? Failure to provide for the rights, right? Then you have your religion, you have Maria Hertog riots, and then you have your races, you have your anti-NS riots. Now these are the cases where the British actually don't care about people's rights, right? Forcing them to go NS, right? Forcing them to accept British law instead of Muslim law. So hence lack of understanding, right? Then security, you have the Hockley riots. Security of the Hockley, when they cannot stop the riots from happening, they couldn't address the situation, they didn't manage it well, and the aftermath, they didn't take active steps to solve the problem, leading to more unrest, more riots. So that is safety and security. All right, so give me the reason, give me the ATQ, give me the reason, then give me the evidence plus explanation, and finally link back, link, and repeat to the question, which is, does this source does not agree, or yes it agrees because blah 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 blah. All right, so that is how you do a proper evaluation.